Hi my dear students, welcome back to the class. So far we were discussing about relations. First we will learn how to find the Cartesian product of any two sets, and then we defined a relation as a subset of the Cartesian product. That is, whenever we are given with two sets A and B, we are able to find A cross B, and we defined a relation R is a subset of A cross B. In this class, we are going to define the new term function. Not that our name of the chapter is nothing but relations and functions, and we defined and discussed about relations, and now we are in a position to define and discuss about functions. So without any further intro, we shall directly move on to the definition of a function. Now we shall define a function formally as a relation f from a set A to a set B is said to be a function if every element of the set A has one and only one image in the set B. Now let me read it again, emphasizing the important words in the definition. A relation, so this is a very important word, f from a set A to a set B is said to be a function if every element, very important point, of the set has one and only one image in the set B. So these are the three important parts of this definition, very important parts. A relation, every element, one and only one image in the set B. Now let us operate this definition. A relation f. So basically a function is nothing but a relation. So functions are basically relations. So not necessarily every relation need not be a function, but for sure every function is a relation. See, a relation f from a set A to a set B is said to be a function, which means a function is basically what? A relation. Every element of the set A. So we have to mark this: every element of the set A must have one and only one image in the set B. So let us do this with the help of an example. Suppose that R, the relation R is given by 2, 1, 3, 2, 4, 3. Suppose that this is our relation, and you can easily observe that 2 has image 1, 3 has image 2, and 4 has image 3. You can see that every element in the domain 2, 3, 4 has one and only one image in the codomain or in the range. See, 2 has only one image, 3 has only one image, 4 has only one image. Now suppose that R is given by, suppose if R is defined in this way: 1, 1, 1, 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, 6, 2. Suppose that this is our relation. Now you can see that 1 has got an image 1, again 1 got an image 5, 3 got an image 1, 3 got an image 5, 6 got an image 2. You can see that 1 got 2 images, 1 and 5. This denies our definition. Every element of the set A has one and only one image in the set B. Here 1 got 2 images, 3 got 2 images, 6 got only one image, but already our definition is denied, and this is not a function, whereas this can be a function since our definition is satisfied here. So in order to check whether every element has one and only one image in the set B or not, just observe the relation. You can easily observe the relation just by looking it into the roster form, and you can identify whether each and every distinct ordered pairs have the same first element or not. Here you can see that considering any pair, you can see that each and every pair of ordered pairs have distinct first element. Here first elements are distinct. So this can be a function. So in order to check whether every element has one and only one image or not, just look into it and identify whether it has distinct first elements or not. If it has distinct first elements, it will be a function. Here you can see first elements are not distinct for this pair. First element is not distinct for this pair. So this cannot be a function. So in order to identify whether it is a function or not, just look into the roster form. Then you can easily identify whether the first elements are repeated or not. If there is same first element for two distinct ordered pairs, you can definitely assert that that cannot be a function. So that's the basic idea of a function. So that this is not a function, and I said that this can be a function. Therefore 2 got the image 1, 3 got the image 2, 4 got the image 3. So since this is a function, let me denote this relation by small letter f. See, a relation f. We usually denote a function by the letter f. So I denoted it by the letter f, and this is the function now. And since image of 2 is 1, we denote it by f of 2 is equal to 1. See, it means that image of 2 under f is 1, or we can say like this also, 2 is the pre-image of 1 under f. We can read it as image of 2 under f is equals 1, or we can read it another way also. What is that? 2 is the pre-image of 1 under f. You can easily look into the ordered pair. Here we can see that 1 is the image of 2, or 2 is the pre-image of 1. That's what this means. We read this as f of 2 is equal to 1. Here clearly you can read it as f of 3 equal to 2. The second one is f of 3 is equal to 2, isn't it? Which means that the image of 3 under f is nothing but 2, or 3 is the pre-image of 2 under f. Similarly, f of 4 is equal to 3. So that is what we call a function, and we can say that the image and pre-image just like this. So in general, suppose that we are provided with two sets A and B, and let R be a relation on A cross B. Let F be a function from A to B, which means that this R satisfies this property. See, R be a relation on A cross B, and that R is a function, and we say that it is a function from A to B, and we denote it by F is from A to B, and we should read like this: the function F from the set A to the set B. We read this like that: F is a function from the set A to the set B, and we denote the images as f of A is equal to B, and we read as B is the image of A under the function f. So this is a general version of what we have said here. If A and B are any two sets, and R is a relation on A cross B, and if R satisfies these properties, then we can call it as a function from A to B, and we denote it by function f from A to B, and we can say that for every element of A, see, here we have to apply this statement: for every element of A, it must have one and only one image in the set B, and we can denote it by general version f of A is equal to B, which means that A is the pre-image of B under F, or B is the image of A under F. Now coming on to example number 10, the question is that let n be the set of all natural numbers and the relation R be defined on n such that R is equal to, the relation is given by set of all ordered pairs xy such that y is equal to 2x. Note that this is the property, and the input value is x and the output value y is chosen from the set of all natural numbers. What is the domain, codomain and range of R? So first we are going to find the domain of R. Okay. So domain of this relation means the set of all first elements, isn't it? We learned that the set of all first elements in each and every ordered pairs constitute the domain of the relation. See, the set of all first elements are nothing but x. Where does this x comes from? From n. Therefore, the domain is nothing but what? n, because each and every element in n can be the first element of this ordered pair. Now we shall look codomain. See, codomain is the original set to which the relation is mapped. We know that this relation is a subset of n cross n, isn't it? See, that is, the relation is from n to n, isn't it? So the codomain is nothing but the original set to which the relation is mapped, and therefore codomain is also nothing but what? N. Now coming on to the range of R. This is very important. Range of R means the set of all second elements in each and every ordered pair. See, when we put 1 for x, y will be what? 2. When we put 2 for x, y will be what? 4. When we put 3 for x, the y will be what? 6. And when we put 4, the y will be what? 8. And whatever be the value, whatever be the natural number we put for x, y will be an even natural number, isn't it? Therefore, range is the set of all second elements in each and every ordered pair, means set of all even natural numbers. So, range is nothing but the set of all even natural numbers, because it is of the form y is equal to 2x. Whatever we put in the position of x, it will result in an even number. So, the set of all second elements is nothing but the set of all even natural numbers. Now, the question is this relation is a function? We know that a relation is said to be a function only when each and every ordered pair, the first element, each and every first element in the ordered pair has distinct one and only one image, right? That means each and every ordered pair has distinct first elements, not same first elements, isn't it? This relation, if we list this relation, R will be of the form, it is of the roster form. When we substitute 1, y will be 2. When we substitute 2, y will be 4, 3, 6, 4, 8, 5, 10, etc. So this is our relation, and you can see that no two ordered pair have the same first element. Every first elements are different. Therefore, this relation is a function. This relation is a function. So that is the end of example number 10 of your textbook. Now coming on to example number 11, the question is that examine each of the following relations given below. State in each case giving reason whether it is a function or not. So the first question is, we are given with a relation ordered pair 2, 1, 3, 1 and 4, 2. You can easily observe that there is no pair of ordered pairs with same first element. So definitely this will be a relation. Now coming on to the second one, here we can easily see that these two ordered pairs have the same first element. So this cannot be a function. Coming on to the third one, here each and every element ordered pair has the distinct first element, or which means that for each and every element has one and only one image in this set. So definitely this will be a function. So that is example number 11. So we have learned that a function is a relation such that for each and every element in the set has one and only one image, isn't it? So that is a function, which means that whenever we are given with so many points in the domain, see, if it is the points in the domain, each of this point is mapped onto a new number, isn't it? Which means that whenever we are given with whenever we are given with an input value, it results in an output value. We say that f of a is equal to b, which means that whenever we are inputting a into the function, it will result in b, a new value. That is what function do to various numbers on the domain. Now, if the range is set of real numbers or a subset of R, then function is called a real valued function. So what is a real valued function? A function whose range means the set of all output values or the set of all images. Range is a set of real numbers, entire set of real numbers, or a subset of R, then the function is called a real valued function. And if the domain of f is also R or a subset of R, then the function is called a real function. So a real function means in addition to this property, which means the range is a set of real numbers or a subset of real numbers, if it has this property also, the domain is also the set of real numbers or a subset of real numbers, then we can call the function as real function. If it has only this property, then it is a real valued function. If it has in addition to that, if it has this property also, then we call this function as a real function. So note the difference between a real valued function and a real function. For a real valued function, it is not necessary that the domain should be a real number or domain should be the subset of a real number or not. But for a real function, definitely the domain as well as the range will be the set of real numbers or the subset of real numbers. Here R stands for real numbers. Okay. Coming on to example number 12. The question is that let n be the set of all natural numbers, define a real valued function f from n to n by, this is the rule or this is the definition or this is the property of the function, complete the table. So we have to complete this table. So we are given with several input values or we are given with several pre-images. We have to find the corresponding images by this property. Okay. First of all, x is equal to 1. We have to find y is equal to f of x. That means we have to find f of 1. F of 1 can be easily obtained by substituting x is equal to 1 here. What is the result then? 2 into 1 plus 1, which is equal to 3. See, 1 is mapped to a new number. Whenever the input value 1 is mapped to a new number, that is why we call a function as a map or mapping. So why the function is called a map or mapping? Because it maps the input value to a new output value. Now whenever we substitute x is equal to 2 here, what is the value of f of x? 2 into 4, 4 plus 1, 5. So f of 2 is equal to 5. F of 3 is equal to 2 into 3, 6. 6 plus 1, 7. So f of 3 is equal to 7. F of 4 is equal to 2 into 4, 8. 8 plus 1, 9. So f of 4 is equal to 9. Now f of 5 is equal to 2 into 5, 10. 10 plus 1, 11. So f of 5 is equal to 11. Now f of 6 is equal to 6 into 12. 12 plus 1, 13. So f of 6 is equal to 13. Now f of 7 is equal to 7 into 2, 4. 14 plus 1, 15. So f of 7 is equal to 15. So this is the completed form of the table. Now coming on to the algebra of functions, we know that algebra of anything means how we can add, subtract, multiply or divide those quantities in that particular context, isn't it? We are going to discuss algebra of real functions. What is a real function? We know that a real function is a function whose domain as well as the range is a set of real numbers or a subset of real numbers, isn't it? So we are going to discuss about algebra of real functions. First of all, let us discuss about addition of functions, which is the most important algebraic property of functions, addition of functions. Suppose that f is a function from x to r and let g is a function from x to r, and suppose that x is a subset of r. See, range means our codomain is the set of real numbers. Range is a set of real numbers and the domain is a subset of real numbers, which makes them real functions. Then the sum of those two functions is nothing but f plus g is also a function from x to r. and defined by f plus g of x is equal to f of x plus g of x. So this is the method we can add two functions. That is, whenever we are given with two functions, we can add the two functions just by adding the individual value of each functions, where for every x element of x, for every x in the domain, we can perform this action in order to add these two functions. Now we shall move to the subtraction of two functions. So whenever we discuss about the subtraction of two functions, suppose that f is a function from x to r, just like before, because f is a real valued function, g is also a real function which is from x to r, and x is a subset of r, which makes the range and domain are the subsets of real numbers. Then f minus g is also a function from x to r and defined by f minus g of x is equal to f of x minus g of x for every x element of x. So whenever we are asked to subtract two functions, just subtract the individual functions for every input value. We will get f minus g of x. Now we shall multiplication of a function with a scalar. See, here we mention scalar. Scalar means any real number. Suppose that f is a function from x to r and x is a subset of real numbers, and alpha is any scalar, which means that alpha is any of the real number. Then the product alpha f is a function from x to r defined by alpha f of x is equal to alpha into f of x for every x element of x, which means that for every input value, alpha f is nothing but alpha into f of x. Now we shall move on to the multiplication of any two functions. No need to be panic while hearing all these together, and no need to be confused. It will be clear when we do the examples. Just very simple concepts. So multiplication of two functions. Suppose that we are given with a function f from x to r and g from x to r, and x is a subset of r. Then the product fg is also a function from x to r, and it is defined as fg of x is equal to f of x into g of x for every x element of x, which means that for every input value, the product of two functions is nothing but we can evaluate that by just finding the product of individual functions. We know that what is f of x and g of x. Then we can easily identify fg just by multiplying f of x and g of x for every input value. Now we shall division of two functions. Suppose that f is a function from x to r and g is a function from x to r, x is a subset of r. Then f by g is a function from x to r and it is defined by f by g of x is nothing but f of x divided by g of x, provided that g of x not equal to 0 for every x element of x. Since when g of x is equal to 0, the function is not defined, so g of x cannot be 0 for any x. That is the only condition while in division. We know that when we say about division of two real numbers, we say that b is not equal to 0, because when it is 0, the fraction is not defined. That's the same case here also. Whenever we speak about division of two functions, we should say that the denominator function or the g of x here cannot be 0 for any input value. So this is the definition of division of two functions. I know you may feel confused on hearing all these definitions together at once. Just cool, and we shall solve the examples and then it will be clear for you. As I said, we can make it more easy while solving the examples. Let us check. Example number 16. We are given with f of x and g of x like this. Be two real functions. So we are given with real function which satisfy all the condition of algebra of two functions. The only condition in the algebra of functions was the functions must be real, isn't it? So we are given with two real functions. Find f plus g of x, f minus g of x, f g of x, and f by g of x. So we shall find f plus g of x at the first. It is equal to f of x plus g of x. Now, what is f of x? It is known to us. It is x square plus g of x is nothing but 2x plus 1. So this is what f plus g of x. Very simple, isn't it? Now coming on to the second one. F minus g of x is equal to f of x minus g of x. What is f of x? X square minus what is g of x? 2x plus 1. Not that we have to put the bracket, because this negative symbol is for the whole g of x. G of x is 2x plus 1. It is equal to x square minus 2x minus 1. Very simple. Now coming on to the third one. F g of x, isn't it? F g of x is nothing but f of x into g of x. It is equal to what is f of x? X square into 2x plus 1. It is equal to 2x into x square is nothing but 2x cube plus x square. So this is what? F g of x. Coming on to the last one, f by g of x. F by g of x is nothing but f of x by g of x. What is f of x? It is x square by g of x 2x plus 1. So this is f by g of x, but there is a problem. The denominator can never be equal to 0. We know that the denominator is nothing but 2x plus 1. It will equal to 0 when 2x is equal to minus 1, x is equal to minus 1 by 2. So the denominator will be equal to 0 for x is equal to minus 1 by 2. So we have to mention here x cannot be equal to minus 1 by 2, so that the denominator will never be equal to 0. So this is example number 16. So now coming on to the example number 17, the question is that if f of x is equal to root x and g of x is equal to x be two functions defined over the set of non-negative real numbers. We know that non-negative real numbers is a subset of real numbers, hence this is a real function. Find f plus g of x. So the first one is f plus g of x. It is equal to f of x plus g of x. So what is f of x? It is root x plus g of x is x. So x plus root x is f plus g of x. Now the second one is f minus g of x. F minus g of x. Very simple, like this. F of x minus g of x. Now what is f of x minus g of x? Root x minus x. Coming on to the third one. F into g of x. It is equal to f of x dot g of x. It is equal to what is f of x? It is root x into g of x is equal to x. So x root x will be the answer. Now coming on to the last one, fourth one, f by g of x. It is equal to f of x by g of x. It is equal to root x by x. It is equal to 1 by root x. See, the denominator cannot equal to 0. 1 by root x. Root x is equal to 0 when x is equal to 0. So x not equal to 0 here. So this is the example number 17 of your textbook. This is the last example of your textbook. So in the next class we will discuss about the types of functions. We can discuss about various types and kinds of functions. After that we shall solve the last exercise. So till the next class, watch this class very well, understand it very well, because this is the basis of this chapter. So learn it very well, and in the next class we shall study further. Wait for the next class. Bye bye.